The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of NAL Now. I'm your host, Stephen We're going to jump right into it because we have about 14 minutes till we have I feel this is going to be a very special guest. Marvin Ross, the Jacksonville Sharks, are joining us in about 14 minutes. So let's go right into it. Week 3 just passed, and the Sharks, once again, they just proved that they are going to dominate the league. Like, they are just awesome. Once again, they showed their dominance. Beating the Lehigh Valley Seahawks by a final score of 57-43. Lehigh was a good team. I'm a big fan of Warren Oliver Jr., their quarterback. But Jacksonville just got the best of them last week. Now, everyone hyped this game up that the Seahawks could get Sharks in trouble, but they didn't. They just didn't. It was Sharks most of the way. Speaking of Marvin Ross, he recorded, I believe it was 2 interceptions in this game. But he did this with the Cleveland Gladiators last year in the Arena Football League. Just another impressive performance by Mr. Marvin Ross, who joins us at 7:50. But besides Marvin Ross, there's somebody on the Sharks I'm looking at. It's just Tyron Lewis, the wide receiver. He's been very impressive. He definitely impressed me last week against Lehigh Valley, but he's been impressed the whole season of watching him. Watching the Sharks games, I'm like, wow. Tyron Lewis is making a name for himself. I believe he caught 3 touchdown passes last week against Lehigh Valley, and I'm just astounded. I'm going to keep keeping an eye on Mr. Tyron Lewis because he's done a very good job for the Sharks. They got rid of Joe Hills. Joe Hills Tampa Bay Storm in the Arena Football League. Now they have Tyron Lewis, and it's like nothing's changed. You think the Sharks don't have that Joe Hills? There's a big gap right there. But they found that they filled that gap with Mr. Tyron Lewis. I'm very impressed on how they made it work. Him and Tommy Greedy, they made it work very well for the Sharks. And, of course, Derek Ross, running back, he's also made things work pretty well off for the Sharks. So there's another good performance by the Sharks against a good team in Lehigh Valley. And once again, they proved that the Sharks are going to dominate the NAL until the end of July, when the season is over. Another team that impressed me, though, was High Country. The High Country Grizzlies continue to impress. They beat the Dayton Wolfpack. You'll drop. Your jaw will drop. You hear this sound score. 94-6. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the High Country Grizzlies scored 94 points last week. I know I'm not mispronouncing. 94 points. The defense ought to be huge for them in that game. Huge defense. Jimmy Legree recorded 3 interceptions by himself. 3 interceptions. Absolutely dominating performance by the defense on High Country. And then the defense, though, but it's not just High Country. It's every team. That's what the thing here. It feels like defense is key for every team. We all know the myth. Defense wins championships, and then the National Arena League, they're proving that right now. They're proving that defense wins championships in the National Arena League. Sharks have Marvin Ross and that great defense. High Country has their dominant defense. Lehigh Valley has a great defense. Columbus Lions are run by their defense. If it weren't for the Columbus Lions defense, they would be at the bottom of the league somewhere, but with Georgia and Corpus Christi and Dayton. But they're sticking up there because of the defense. They're at 2-1 because of the defense. So that seems to be the big thing in the NAL in the inaugural season through 3 weeks. Defense is key to victory. Speaking of defense, we go to the third game of the week, and that was Columbus and Georgia. The SC rivalry between the Georgia Firebirds and the Columbus Lions. That seems like this game was a really great game. It was a great game. Like last night, it was a great game. It felt like you go down to the wire, but hey, defense proved worthy. Georgia, now I've said this first 2 weeks. I can't figure out the Georgia Firebirds. I cannot figure them out. I can never figure them out. Like, are they a good team? Are they a bad team? We cannot figure the Georgia Firebirds out. Last week, we sort of got to go to what they can do. Yeah, they said they went down 12-0. I was thinking, okay, maybe they're not the team that could make the playoffs this year, like they did last year, where they failed to make the playoffs in their last league, whatever league that was. But they overcame that 12-point deficit. They kept it close with Columbus throughout the first half, and then the first half ended, and they had a 1-point deficit. The Fibers did, and before you know it, beginning of the second half, Fibers had the lead. Took the lead. Very impressive performance by the Firebirds against Columbus last week. But, nonetheless, defense prospered. The Columbus defense stepped up when they needed to, forced a fumble, which rolled into the end zone, unfortunate for the Georgia Firebirds, and resulted in a Lions touchdown. That sealed the game for the Lions. I don't actually remember the final score, but I do know the Lions won. It was a great game against Georgia. And had that fumble not happened, I feel like Georgia could have taken Columbus to the edge. They couldn't have gone to overtime. Could have been last-second touchdown, last-second field goal for whatever team. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But it was good. It was a good game. Same thing with Jacksonville leads that Valley. Defense wound up being key. They had Valley sticking in with it and intercepted an interception and ends up by Marvin Ross. That was pretty much it for the Seahawks in that game. High Country out again. High Country dominated defensively. Jimmy LeGree recorded 3 interceptions on his own. And the Wolfpack scored, and of course it's an NAL record. It's only 3 weeks into this new season. They scored 94 points. 94 points. Wow. You would think you would think the Sharks would do that. Nope, it's the High Country Grizzlies scoring 94 points. I'm sure one team will make 100. I don't know if it'll be the Sharks or the Grizzlies or whoever it will be, but it's going to be. But 94 points is impressive. I feel like there will be a team out there that will break 100. As for the Sharks, yeah, Thyron Lewis, he is so key to their offense, I feel. Like Tom Brady, he was a great quarterback of the year in the Football League. And then when the Sharks moved and they didn't, and then Joe Hills wasn't part of the team, people were thinking, oh no, they have a big gap without him. Who's the big wide receiver now? They found him. It's Thyron Lewis. Thyron Lewis is very impressed. I'm impressed very much. I am impressed by Thyron Lewis. I would like to have him on the show. I'd like to have him come on the show one of these days. We'll see what happens. This is the second episode of NAL Now. Last week we took off because of the season premiere of This Week in the AFL with me, Jordan Palacio, and Eric Watkins. If you didn't listen to that, go ahead over to W2Mnet.com and listen to that right now. We had fun there. Colin Taylor of the Cleveland Gladiators joined us, as did Mike Washington of the Washington Dollar. Last week, 2 weeks ago on NAL Now, the first episode, we had Steven Panislaw, quarterback of the High Country Grizzlies, after their impressive game against Lehigh Valley. They lost, but he pressed, and I also talked to him about their opening game. I don't exactly remember who they played. I do remember they definitely impressed me. They definitely impressed me in their opening game. They played Georgia. That's right. They beat Georgia. And I was very impressed by how they played, because it's their first year. First year as a franchise, not even in the NAL. This is the first year of the High Country Grizzlies. And they're 2-0, 3-0. 2-1. Excuse me, they're 2-1. Yes, they're 2-1, and they are dominating opponents. Dominated the Firebirds. They kept it close with the Steelhawks. They kept it very close with the Steelhawks. I believe they gave it to overtime. I might be wrong on that. And then they just dominated Dayton. So don't be surprised if High Country continues from Jacksonville But we'll get to that later in the show. This Sunday, I believe, the High Country Grizzlies this Sunday, the High Country Grizzlies host the Jacksonville Sharks. What I believe will be a preview of the inaugural National Arena League game. I have a feeling that is going to be a preview of what we're going to see. I believe the game is somewhere like July 8th. Yes, July 8th is the National Arena League title game. I believe it will be High Country against Jacksonville. So I believe we will see a preview of that this coming Sunday. It's gonna be a great game, but we'll talk more on that later on in the show. When we come back though here on NAL Now, Mr. Marvin Ross will join us, and we will talk to him about the Sharks' success and his time in Cleveland, and a little bit more. You are listening to NAL Now.
Hello to all you Arena League football fans out there. I want to personally welcome you to join us, AFL Fan Zone, every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for a weekly recap of all things AFL. You got stuff to do on the weekends, which means you probably don't have time to sit down and watch every single game every week. That's where AFL Fan Zone comes in. Not only do we break down the week, but we provide you with everything you need to stay up to date with the AFL, including Players of the Week, Power Rankings, and the weekly standings. Best part is, the recap is fully interactive between the viewers and the host. Just search AFL Fan Zone on YouTube and you can find all of our archived videos, including game previews, recaps, and weekly updates. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and at our website at www.aflfanzone.com. AFL Fan Zone, your internet home for the best AFL fans.
Hi, I'm Donovan James, and welcome to the Don James High School Football Report, everybody, where we discuss and debate the hottest prep and college football recruiting topics in the country every week. Only here on NGSC Sports, 9:30 Eastern. For more, follow me on Twitter at Don James Sports.
It's game time, boys, and we know football. Football the Max is the podcast for you if you want in-depth analysis over the NFL and college football. We preview all the action coming your way over the weekend. And we break down all the big action after it's happened. Plus, we tackle all the big news topics and discuss everything when it comes to the gridiron. So come check out Football to the Max every Tuesday morning and Friday morning on the W2M network.
Are you an arena football fan looking for the latest news involving your team? Inside the Arena has you covered. Check us out for the latest news around both the Arena Football League and the Chinese Arena Football League. Read all of our stellar articles at InsideTheArena.org. Also, follow us on Twitter at Inside_Arena and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/InsideTheArena.
Welcome back to NAL Now. I'm your host, Stephen Now joining us, 2016 Geico Arena Football League Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now with the Jacksonville Sharks, Mr. Marvin Ross. How are you tonight, Mr. Ross?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I want to start by talking about their time with Cleveland. I believe it was Week 8 against Tampa. You guys went to overtime, and you came up with a big interception that wound up winning the game for Cleveland. So I want to ask, what happened after that season? Like, you guys lost to Arizona, and then was your contract up, or you decided to move on from the organization?
It was just a better decision for me to come home and play with Jacksonville. I enjoyed my time in Cleveland, but I felt that was a better situation for me to come home and play in front of my family and my friends.
Well, it's always nice to be around family and friends. I agree. I can agree with that. Did you join Jacksonville after they announced their move to the National Arena League, or before, when they were still part of the Arena Football League?
After they moved to the National Arena Football League.
Okay, so how is you played against Tom McGrady last year? What is your relationship with him now?
Me and Tommy, we have a very good relationship off the field, and on the field we're very competitive. We don't talk too much trash, but we just give a little eye contact, whenever we're competing against each other, and we just try and get each other better for each week.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you feel like you've played 3 games so far this season? Do you feel like the competition is different than it was in the Arena Football League?
Yeah, it's a little different. The schemes are different. The receivers aren't as big, but everybody is a professional. So I go in with a clear mind on the game each week. So these guys make plays too. They get paid just like I'm getting paid. So these guys out there making plays, and they're trying to make plays because they're looking at us as the Jacksonville Sharks. So we can't come out there slacking. We have to come and perform.
Yeah, you definitely didn't slack last week. If I'm not mistaken, you had 2 interceptions against Lehigh Valley.
Yes, I had 2 interceptions. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you have not been slacking since I've seen you first in the Arena Football League. You won the Arena Football League Defensive Player of the Year last year. Do you think about these award things, or you just think you want to be part of a team that wins? You just want to win the games?
Well, I was the Rookie of the Year last year. I wasn't the Defensive Player of the Year. That was Tracy Belton. But accolades come, but of course you want the W. If you don't get the W, then it doesn't matter what you did. That's the most important thing. The W's add up. You want to build up momentum to make a chase for the ring. That everybody sets one goal at the end of the year, and that's to get a ring. It's nothing individual. It's a team game. So you got to compile the wins.
I can agree with that. Marvin Ross, Geico Rookie of the Year from last year, not Defensive Player. That's my fault. Joining us from there on NAL Now. After that loss to Arizona, how was the feeling in the locker room?
We was disappointed. We knew that we lost to them twice in the regular season. The first time in Cleveland, it was a pretty tight game, and we just had a new quarterback come in, Arvell Nelson, and just had a couple weeks under his belt. Then we lost in Arizona pretty bad, so we wanted a little retaliation, and we knew it was one game away, to play Philadelphia, which was a rivalry for us, and we beat them one time during the season, so we felt. If we could have beat Arizona, we could have had a good chance, to bring home a ring for the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, I was rooting for Cleveland in that game too. I tell you. So last week against Lehigh, I know Lehigh Valley, they have a great quarterback. Were you nervous going into that game last week?
Nervous? No, I'm never nervous. I'm more anxious. To see the speed of the game. Of course, I'm going as fast as I can, but, nervous to see the speed of the game and, be back home in front of my family and fans and all. It makes you have even more anxiety before the game. But, no, I wasn't nervous. I studied film. So, what you showed me, I'm going to play the percentages and I'm going to try and put the defense in the best situation with the help of my coaches to make plays, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, you made plays, all right. Now, you played in Cleveland. Stephen Panasuk, now with the High Country Grizzlies, so spent some time in Cleveland. Did you guys play in Cleveland together?
Yeah, we played in Cleveland together, yes, and we played against each other in the PIFL in 2015.
Oh, okay. All right. No, you learn something new every day. I had no idea about that. So this week you guys play the High Country Grizzlies. I feel like this is going to be a preview of the NAL title game. I feel like the Jacksonville Sharks are the best team in the league, if you ask me, and then the High Country Grizzlies. How are you preparing for this big match?
Well, we know it's a big week, so everybody's in the film. Like we said, we gotta just take what they give us. What we see on film, we have to predict that that's what they're going to give us in the game. With the pressure that we get, from Jeremiah Price and Dale Pearson, it just makes it easier for us in the secondary, and we know that they can't give us too much more off the record, So we have to just trust what we see and believe it and make plays. So Steve, he's a great quarterback. He was our backup in Cleveland. he was a good quarterback in Trenton, and I know he's up for the challenge. This is a big challenge for him. So we have to be on our A game on all cylinders.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to be on your A game because they just scored 94 points against State Wolfpack. That is going to be a huge challenge for that defense to make sure they don't score 94 again. So when I had Stephen Pasek on 2 weeks ago, I compared him to LeBron James. He was the centerpiece of the country Grizzlies' success. When I think of you and I see how you play, you kind of remind me of Malcolm Butler. How do you feel about that type of comparison?
Malcolm Butler?
Yes, sir.
I feel good about that comparison. We're not the biggest guys, but we're aggressive. Both were, underdogs. You really didn't know that much about Malcolm Butler, but when at the biggest stage, he made the play that needed to be made, for them to win the game. So, and that kind of jump-started him, and then you could see, after that season, you could see that he was legit. He was a legit player. It wasn't just a fluke play, and he came back the next year hungry and made plays, and so that I accept that comparison. He's a guy in the NFL, so I will always accept that comparison.
Now, obviously, being the NAL is big. It's good for you. You got a lot of recognition. You got the fans of Jacksonville, big fan base down in Jacksonville. But do you have any plan? Like, would you like to see yourself playing in the NFL one day?
In the NFL, of course. That's my dream. I would love to play in the NFL. I feel like I'm still young. I still have time. I've been progressing each year I've played, and I would love to play in the NFL, of course. Any team that needs a defensive back, I feel like I can come in and make plays to change games.
If you were given a choice right now to play for one NFL team, which team would that be?
One NFL team? The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. I felt like hearing. Marvin Ross, defensive backs for the Jacksonville Sharks, had a huge game this week against the High Country Grizzlies. I want to wish you luck against High Country. It's going to be a big thing for you. I'll be watching. I'll be definitely watching that game. It's going to be a lot of hype. I believe that stadium will be crowded. Best of luck to you and the team. And I want to thank you for joining us here on NAL Now.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. There it is. Marvin Ross. Like I said, I've been watching him since 2016 when he played with the Cleveland Gladiators. Watching him make these plays against, he didn't have just one interception in an overtime game where it led to the game-winning touchdown for the Gladiators. He did that like 3 times last season. So I've been getting to talk to Marvin Ross. That's awesome. Marvin Ross is a big-time player. Big-time player. And he continues to show that even with another team in another league, he's showing that again. And he said he would like to play for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan, so watching Marvin Ross playing for America's team, everything about that would be just absolutely amazing. I would love to see that. That would just be awesome. Let's make it happen, Dallas Cowboys. The NAL season ends July 8th. Training camp begins around the end of July, so let's make it happen. Let's get Marvin Ross to the Dallas Cowboys after the Jacksonville Sharks win the NAL title this year. Let's make it happen. NAL Now. We'll be right back.
Hello to all you Arena League football fans out there. I want to personally welcome you to join us, AFL Fan Zone, every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for a weekly recap of all things AFL. You got stuff to do on the weekends, which means you probably don't have time to sit down and watch every single game every week. That's where AFL Fan Zone comes in. Not only do we break down the week, but we provide you with everything you need to stay up to date with the AFL, including Players of the Week, Power Rankings, and the weekly standings. Best part is, the recap is fully interactive between the viewers and the host. Just search AFL Fan Zone on YouTube and you can find all of our archived videos, including game previews, recaps, and weekly updates. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and at our website at www.aflfanzone.com. AFL Fan Zone, your internet home for the best AFL fans.
Hi, I'm Donovan James, and welcome to the Don James High School Football Report, everybody, where we discuss and debate the hottest prep and college football recruiting topics in the country every week. Only here on NGSC Sports, 9:30 Eastern. For more, follow me on Twitter at Don James Sports.
It's game time, boys, and we know football. Football to the Max is the podcast for you if you want in-depth analysis over the NFL and college football. We preview all the action coming your way over the weekend. And we break down all the big action after it's happened. Plus, we tackle all the big news topics and discuss everything when it comes to the gridiron. So come check out Football to the Max every Tuesday morning and Friday morning on the W2M network.
Are you an arena football fan looking for the latest news involving your team? Inside the Arena has you covered. Check us out for the latest news around both the Arena Football League and the Chinese Arena Football League. Read all of our stellar articles at InsideTheArena.org. Also, follow us on Twitter at Inside_Arena and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/InsideTheArena.
Welcome back to NAL Now. Marvin Ross. That was a pretty good interview with Marvin Ross. If you'd like to play for the Dallas Cowboys, let's make it happen. I would love to see that, but first he has to go against the High Country Grizzlies. And obviously, every NAL fan listening to this right now, they know this is the game of the week. The High Country Grizzlies, high-powered offense against Jacksonville's high-powered offense and defense. And High Country Grizzlies also has a high-powered defense. But everything about this game is pretty much equal. This game's going down to the wire. It's going to be a great game. But the one thing I have is can the Grizzlies stop Tyronn Lewis? Because like I said before our interview with Mark Ross, Tyronn Lewis is a great guy, great receiver. He proved that last week. I believe he caught 3 touchdowns last week against Lehigh Valley, who have a good defense. And they showed that the first 2 games. Great defense, and Tyronn Lewis burned over 3 touchdowns. Says a lot about Mr. Lewis. There's a lot about him. And then you have Jimmy LeGree on the other side of the ball, whom I don't know if he will be covering Mr. Lewis, but I do know. Jimmy LeGree caught 3. He recorded 3 interceptions last week against Dayton for the High Country Grizzlies. So if Jimmy LeGree goes up against Tyronn Lewis, huge right there. That would be huge. Are we going to see it? I don't know. We'll have to wait for Sunday. The High Country Grizzlies actually host the Sharks. 3:30. The games will be streaming live on YouTube. I will be watching. You already know. It's going to be a great game. But that's not the only game we have. Lehigh Valley and Columbus play this weekend. Lehigh Valley will host the Columbus Lions. And like I said, I'm a fan of Warren Oliver Jr., quarterback of Lehigh Valley Steelers. I'm a fan of that offense. Brandon Redford is a great receiver. They have a great running back. I cannot pronounce his name for the life of me. I won't even try to. And then, like I said earlier in the show, Columbus has I want to say, arguably the best defense in the league. Very arguable. But it feels that way. Defense is keeping them afloat right now at 2-1. So that offense against that defense is going to be everybody banging heads. It's going to be banging heads the whole game. It could be a blowout where the Seahawks offense dominates the Lions defense, or it could be a low-scoring game where the Lions defense outsmarts the Lehigh offense. Either way, we are in for a highly contested game. It's not the game of the week. The game of the week is the Grizzlies and the Sharks. But the Steelhawks and the Lions, that also gives us something. Big game. That's a huge game right there. Lions and the Steelhawks. I'm looking forward to that game. But I want to go back because there is something else I have to say about the Sharks and the Grizzlies game for this Sunday. And you can look at it as the game of the week, and you can look at it as a liar, but there will be people that will also look at it this way. The Sharks aren't going to have a problem with High Country. They're not. They're going to beat the High Country Grizzlies pretty easy. That's how some people can look at it. I mean, everybody thought Lehigh Valley would give Sharks a hard time. That's what I said this is the beginning of the show. Everyone thought the Seahawks would be able to give the Sharks a hard time, but it turned out the Sharks, they just knew what to do to beat the Steelhawks easily. Not easily, I mean, they did beat them by 14 points. It was a close game, but they wound up at the end. They knew how to beat them. But I'm feeling, and some people might think this same way. Maybe Jacksonville will get the best of High Country. Maybe it won't be so close, I should say, as some might think. Might not be as close as we all think. It could be. I hope. Of course, we all hope it's what we expect: a high contested, close game, possible overtime, game-winning touchdowns, time expires, what have you. It might not turn out that way. We thought Lehigh Valley and Jacksonville was going to be the great game. It's a great game, but it turned out it wasn't that great. It was close. It wasn't great. That's what we're hoping for this week. High Country hosts Jacksonville. We're hoping for a great game. And then there's the Steel against the Montero Steel. I do believe they will host the Dayton Wolfpack. That's right. And the Georgia Firebirds will host Corpus Christi. I feel like this is the week the Firebirds, they realize they've struggled the first 3 weeks, and this is the time. The time's now to show what they're made of. They wanted to prove themselves. They had to prove it now against Corpus Christi. If I contend for the playoffs, I got to do it against Corpus Christi right now. This is it. They are 0-3. On the outside looking in big time. Must win here week 4 against Corpus Christi. It's a must win. Maybe they can do it. I mean, they gave Columbus a run for the money, and Columbus has a great defense. So maybe, just maybe, the Firebirds can get their first win against Corpus Christi. Judging by the way Corpus Christi has played this year, I don't believe that'll be a problem for Georgia. There's a lot to look forward to this weekend. You got the Sharks and the Grizzlies, the Lions and the Steelhawks. 2 great games everyone was looking forward to. And then you got the Georgia Firebirds, where this is a must-win. There's drama. So all the Firebird fans will be watching for this game, too. They'll be looking for their Firebirds to prove themselves week 4. Week 4. Yes, we're on week 4. So we're looking for their team to prove themselves, get that first win against Corpus Christi. And Steel against the Wolfpack. Monterey's been a very good team. The only problem is nobody's seen them play. That's on the team's, I guess, the social media or whatever. Whoever runs the YouTube with Steel. That is the problem we have. We know Monterrey is great because they're down all their opponents. But the problem is that we know he's watched them play, and we know who the big guy is there. So to recap the show here. Sharks showed dominance against Lehigh Valley. So once again, they will win the title. Marvin Ross with 2 interceptions. Tyrod Lewis, I will continue to keep an eye out on him. Dayton scored 94 points in a blowout win over Dayton. High Country scored 94 points against Dayton in blowout fashion. Almost shut them out, but garbage time touchdown avoided that. Next week's game of the week will be the Sharks and the Grizzlies in Boone, North Carolina, home of the High Country Grizzlies. Steelhawks and Lions also had some interesting matchups there. That's probably the biggest matchup is the Lehigh Valley offense against the Columbus defense, and then you have the Georgia Firewoods, where the time is now. If they want to prove themselves, they must beat Corpus Christi here in Week 4 of the National Arena League. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of NAL Now. I've been your host, Stephen Erner. Enjoy all games this coming week, and we will be back next Thursday to recap the action, have another guest on, and then look forward to Week 5. Have a good night, everybody.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.